Hello Cat 1101 students. In this tutorial we are going to cover the locator design, starting on page 3-3 of your second level 3D modeling textbook. Let's start changing the startup system variable. You can change the variable either to 0 or 1. The default is 0, and when you start a new drawing you see the select template dialog box. We are going to be changing that to 1, and when we open a new drawing we'll see the create new drawing dialog box, which will give us different options to start a new drawing. So let's type startup. Now we have to give a new value, so add 1 and enter, and start a new drawing. Now you can see the create new drawing dialog box. We have a couple of options here. We can open a new drawing, we can start from scratch, use a template, or select a wizard. For this drawing we are going to be starting from scratch, so click on start from scratch and select Imperial and click OK. Before we start a new command, let's make sure that in the status bar we have the grid on, O-snap on, the dynamic input on, the object snap tracking on, line weight on, and also the polar on. Let's start a rectangle command. The first corner is going to be at 0, 0. Type 0, 0, press enter. And the other corner is going to be at 4.5, 3. Now let's go in view, 3D view, southeast isometric. We are going to be creating a 3D box that will define the 3D boundary of the design. Let's start the copy command. Pick the rectangle, right click, pick a base point, and type at 0, 0, 2.5. Press enter again. Now let's go in view, zoom, extents. The two rectangles represent the top and bottom of the 3D box. Now let's use the line command to close those boundaries. So start the line command. The first point will be at 0, 0, 0. Second point will be 0, 0, 2.5. Press enter. Press enter again to repeat the command. And we are going to use the O-snap to just pick those endpoints. Repeat the line command by pressing enter and just pick the endpoints. Press enter, enter again, and pick the last two endpoints. Let's open the Object Snap toolbar. So go to Tools, Toolbars, AutoCAD, Object Snap. Let's locate the top corners. So start the line command. Click on Snap From. Pick the end point for the top back corner and type at 0.75, 0, 0. Now let's type at 0, -2, 0. Now let's get an intersection point and pick that point and press enter. Let's repeat the line command. Click on Snap From, select the top front corner and type at 0, 0, -1. Now let's type at 0.75, 0, 0. And now let's pick the endpoint. Press enter, spacebar. Press enter again to repeat the command. And just pick the endpoints to finish that line command. Let's use the copy command again to create additional edges of the wireframe model. So start the copy command, pick the bottom rectangle, right click, pick a base point. So now let's type at 0, 0, 0.75. Press enter and press enter again to repeat the copy command. Pick the two vertical lines, right click, pick the top back corner, select this endpoint, and right click and enter. Let's start the trim command. Let's select the cutting edges. So pick the objects according to page 3-14 of your textbook. Once you're done with the selection, right click again, select project, select view. The view option will allow you to trim based on the displayed view. Select view. Now let's start selecting what we want to trim. Right click and enter. Let's use the orbit command. Reorbit. Just orbit a little bit so you can see the edges that are missing. And let's use the line command to finish up those edges. Go back in view menu, 3D views, southeast isometric. Pick the top right edge of the wireframe model and select explode. Now let's start the offset command. The distance will be 0.5. Type that in, press enter. Select the lines from the polyline that you just exploded and select a side. Pick the line and pick a side. Right click and enter. Repeat the offset command. Now the distance will be 1.5. Press enter. Select what you want to offset and select the side. Right click and enter. Start the trim command. Select your cutting edges. Right click and select what you want to trim. Right click and enter. Let's start the circle command. Center radius. I'm going to click on snap from. Pick the top right corner. For the center, type at -2.67, 1.5. For the radius, type 0.375. Press enter. Start the copy command. Select the object that you want to copy. Right click, pick the right front corner, and pick the bottom right corner. Right click and enter. Start the line command. We are going to use the quadrant option for the snap. Click on snap to quadrant. Create a line of quadrant to quadrant. Space bar again, repeat the command and create the other lines. Now let's start the trim command. Select the cutting edges, right click and select what I want to trim, right click and enter. Start the line command and finish up all the edges as necessary. Now you can use the orbit command to see if all your lines are correct in the right place. Right click and exit. And I'm going to go back to view, 3D views, and southeast isometric. On your own, make sure you save this drawing as locator design. Thanks for watching.